Hello and welcome back to the channel, and happy holidays and a happy new year. But all of that is over now, so it's back to the ranked grind for us. In that spirit, I have in this video some recent clips from games that I played. And I want to showcase and analyze these clips in order to kind of find moments to learn. And hopefully you can find some value in my failings too. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, I climbed from Emissary to Oracle, and then the holiday challenge came about, so I started playing a bunch of heroes I had no idea how to play in order to finish that off, and that dropped me down to like high Emissary. But now I've climbed my way back up to Archon 6, which is where I am currently. The long-term goal, of course, being to eventually hit Eternus 6, even though that's very far away at the moment. I have decided that I need to start kind of focusing my learning, so I can no longer really hit my head against the wall in order to learn, but I have to kind of focus in on a couple of concepts and really kind of force myself to learn. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at some situations that involves the urn and that involves the lane. So with the urn specifically, it very often sits unused for a majority of the game in Archon rank and lower, and that is just an untapped resource that if you manage to run it properly, it can pull you ahead of in a lot of games. Even though you might be losing them ordinarily, that is a way to kind of carry your team to victory. And the second part is the lane. I often find myself winning the lane but being unable to kind of close it out. So I've been trying to be more aggressive when the enemies are low, and trying to learn how to dive the Guardian properly, and trying to learn how to kind of close out the lane, whether that be just destroying the Guardian or killing the enemies or whatever the case. So those are the two main concepts we're going to be looking at in this video. So, please enjoy and roll the clips. Economy is the name of the game in Deadlock. You really want to get far ahead of the enemy team, since that increases your chances of winning. Therefore, I've been really focused on stealing the enemy's jungle as often as I can. Dorman is particularly adept at stealing the enemy's center sacrifices, as you see me doing here, due to his doorway ability. Look at him go, whee! I have also been hard at work trying to learn when and how to run the urn. Dorman is really good at this, yet again due to his doorway ability. Just make sure you don't try to grab the urn right in front of the enemy, because they might actually chase you. For those of you that don't know, any heavy melee or stun will make you drop the urn, so just make sure you clear out any enemies before picking up the urn. Here we end up feeding Viscous to the enemy team, and they're able to run the urn instead of us. But since we responded quickly enough, we have enough time to go to green and intercept them while they're doing the hand-in. So remember, even if you lost the pickup, there's still a fight to be had at the hand-in. I have been deliberately trying to target the side of the map where the urns are about to spawn. So here you see me pushing the Guardian, and now picking up and running down real fast. The problem is, 3 people are fighting at green, but since I see that they're diving our Guardian, I gamble that they're preoccupied, and I turn out to be right, and manage to get the hand in. Now, what follows is the most awkward duel in Deadlock history. Yeah, never mind that. Here are some more urns. Sometimes you're unable to hand in the urn right away, of course, because if they're competent, they're gonna defend the urn hand in. So when you end up in situations like these, just slow it down. Here I get warned by my teammates that there's a Lash trying to ult, and an Abrams lying in ambush. So I wait for them to pop their ults, and while they're preoccupied with fighting, that's when I take my shot. Just go in. Know that this is a little bit risky, for obvious reasons, but this time it worked out. As long as you have, no matter how many people are around, if they're preoccupied, generally it tends to work out in your favor when you're in the lower ranks. Luckily, that fight ended just as the next urn spawned, so I was able to run the urns back to back, which is a huge advantage for our team. And this one turned out to be quite a bit less dramatic than the previous one. I've been trying to push my limits in lane a little bit more and get better at diving, so we've pushed these guys pretty hard, me and Viscous, and we're going in for the dive, but we end up making a critical error. This really hurts to watch. I panicked so bad. What ended up happening here is that Viscous went in first, drew the aggro of the tower, so when I went in for the parry, obviously it didn't melee me, so no parry happened. That meant the tower kept doing full DPS all throughout our dive, which cost us 501 damage, you can see in the bottom left there. So yeah, when you run in, make sure that you get the tower melee first so you're able to parry it. So this is from the same game a little bit earlier. I end up going for the dive, and I end up fat fingering my entire goddamn keyboard and panic ulted Vindicta in the middle of it. Then Viscous cubes me in order for me to just ponder my own horrible mistakes before I die. Ah, this hurts to watch. But it's all part of the learning process, okay? Here I was experimenting a little bit with kind of the items I picked up. I've had some success going for monster rounds instead of headshot booster. However, in this lane, I felt like, oh yeah, if I just get spirit shielding, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna outtrade them, and it felt like Haze was pushing the minion wave a lot, so I didn't think I'd need it. Now the problem with going to way too many utility items is that you delay your 4.8k spike, which is what I think happened in this case, apart from a couple of misplays, obviously. That allowed them to get way ahead of us in lane, and we were never able to come back. What I should have done, I think, is not go for headshot boost, to go instantly for monster rounds and then push the 4.8k spike and then maybe get spirit shielding. Or even reactive barrier. I don't know, I'm not quite sure. But either way, the item build in this lane was not right. The ordering of items is very important when it comes to lane, since if you delay your power spikes too much, you fall behind. Luckily, our Victor was turbo fed, so he ended up carrying this game and I didn't end up having to do much at all, but that lane was really frustrating. Here I'm faced with a really unfavorable matchup. We're running Dorman and Dynamo into Abrams and Great Talon, so no matter what range you're at a disadvantage, since if you're up close, Abrams gets you, and if you're far behind, Great Talon just pokes you down. So, you know, there are several ways to play and win the lane, right? One way, and the most common way, is to just kill the enemies, take their Guardian. But really, the winner of the lane is the one who's furthest ahead. So here I was gung-ho about just killing them and then taking their tower. And let's be fair, we could have killed Great Talon here if my mechanics were better. Instead, I end up running away with literally 1 HP. But my point is, maybe this is the type of lane where I should have been farming boxes more, rather than trying to push my advantage. So one thing you can do if you're kind of falling behind in a lane, health-wise, is you can pick up healing rights, and you can go and run boxes for money, and that way you can build an advantage as long as you don't feed them kills. The problem with these escapes is that I lose a lot of souls having to go back all the time. And we end up losing the lane, even though Abrams is overextending a lot, and even though Great Talon was low. If my mechanics were a little bit better, we could have won that as well. But I feel like this is one of my core issues. Like, when things don't go my way, I get impatient. I need to learn and practice a bit of patience. Just hang back, farm some boxes, and wait for them to make a mistake, and we would have probably won that lane. Okay, so what have we learned from these clips? Well, I have learned that you need to run the urn properly. So a couple of things. Always make sure that you prepare for the urn. So every 5 minutes, make sure you're prepared to run the urn. You prepare for it by pushing the lane where it's going to spawn, so the pickup is safe. And then you always have to kind of prepare to take a fight at the hand in, because obviously the enemy team, when they're playing properly, are going to try and stop you. So make sure that you both have map control in the pickup and then get ready to take a fight at the hand in. I've also learned about the lane where it's like the power, no matter how good of a counter item you have, delaying your power spike too much is not a good thing. Like, there has to be a balance, and you know, that comes with time, I assume, where you have to know when you can sneak in a utility item in the lane. The lane is pretty intense. And then also an important concept for me is that I need to know when to cut my losses and play patiently. And playing patiently in my world is pushing out the wave and then going back and farm. So what you can do in lane, if you're really struggling with a matchup or you're struggling against certain players, what you can do to get ahead is you clear the wave really fast, get monster rounds, and focus entirely on the wave. And once you've cleared it, you have a couple of seconds to run around and grab some boxes. And that is going to theoretically put you ahead. And with that lead, you can then take favorable fights. So that's something I need to practice. So those two things I'm gonna keep in mind going forward in my next couple of weeks of gameplay. If you made it this far, well, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something or at least had some fun. And I wish you a great rest of your day. Goodbye.